today's lesson. Last week we started talking about summary writing, the introduction. Today we are going to have a continuation of it and still try to demystify all the problems to summary writing. Let's take a recap of what we did last week. So for last week, we talked about the introduction to summary writing, and we said that a summary writing, any summary issues you come across are made up of the following. One, they are made up of key points. Two, they are made up of extraneous materials. And three, they are made up of wordiness or verbosity. So I said that the examiner expects you to understand the summary passage. That's number one. Number two, you must be able to differentiate between the key points and the main idea from the illustrative ideas, which includes numbers, examples, and repetitions. Number three, once you have been able to do the above, then you should be able to write your answer concisely and briefly. Now, the sentence should be written in a simple sentence form. That is, a sentence with only a subject and a predicate. For today's lesson, let's look at our lesson objectives. By the end of the lesson today, you should be able to identify the topic sentences. Number two, you should be able to write out paragraphs using only essential points. To start, let us consider the following extract. This extract is also part of what we studied last week, and it reads, armed robbery, one of the social evils in many developing countries, was relatively uncommon in the pre-independent era. Let's try to answer the following questions based on this extract. Number one, what is the main idea in the writing above? This is our answer. The main idea is that armed robbery was uncommon in the pre-independent era. That is the main idea in this extract. Let's move on. The question is there any irrelevant material you find in this extract? And the answer is yes. And another question, why do you think it is irrelevant? Why is it not important? And our answer is that because the sentence does not lose meaning without it. In fact, it is only adding more information to it. So whatever you see here, the main idea, armed robbery was uncommon in the pre-independent era, represents the main idea. And any other thing is only verbosity. Sometimes it becomes very important to maintain some adverbs and adjectives to avoid ambiguity. Okay? Good. Let us take a look at this example, because if you are dealing with a summary passage, you must try your best to do away with adverbs and adjectives. But sometimes you can't do away with them, because doing away with them is going to give you ambiguity. It's going to give you information which is not clear. For example, let's take this one. Let's take a look at this one rather. It says that the teenagers striking out had meant they are getting on with their lives without having to consult the old folk. Let's move on. Let's remove the word old, which is an adjective here. we would only have the noun folk left in the sentence. Let's move on. This may raise the question of which folk are we talking about? Is it the young folk or the old folk? Emphasize the meaning are usually ignored in a summary passage, especially when they modify another adjective or adverb. Again, in answering a summary passage, you must acquire a lot of vocabulary. That is why you need to read a lot. You will not be able to answer it very well and understand it very well if you don't read properly. So therefore, I always encourage you to read more so that you'll be able to understand the passage. You should be able to gather a lot of vocabulary. Thank you very much for your time today, ladies and gentlemen. I hope that you have enjoyed this lesson and you have gotten to understand how to get main ideas from extraneous and irrelevant ideas. I hope to come your way next time with another beautiful lesson. Until then, goodbye.